That's right. Nobody, so the only two people I know that weren't going to be here were Steve and Susan.
Last I talked to, he said,
Fine, phone number.
Yeah, they post all through it.
Yes, we can still do the public hearing. For our other. Hey Barry, my mom just spoke to Richard. We're going to make a board meeting tonight. We are short of Jeff. Hey Barry. You gonna make it to planning commission tonight? Nah. Right. All right, just scramble to find numbers for the rest of the one. All right, that's okay, thanks. Yeah.
can we deputize people?
Her
Very off.
If you want to, yeah, I mean, we're gonna get started. All right, I think we'll do it. If you want me to explain anything, I'm happy to. All right. Yeah, that's fine.
The larger scheme of things, this is not happening. This is not happening.
Oh, really? Yeah, me either. 27 years.
Okay, back to 2008. Yeah. Yeah. Not very often. 27, Deb?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a rookie compared to that.
Comes Lex.
Good.
Yeah, I'm almost 16.
Good evening, and welcome to the June 18, 2024 City of Kankakee Planning Board meeting. I will call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Barry McCracken. Deb Terrell. Chip Roram. Jose Arturo Barajas. Susan Lopez, you know she wouldn't be here tonight. Steve Case also is not going to be able to be here tonight. Arthur Lax, I saw a second ago. He should be here in a second. Beverly Hood.
Present.
So we unfortunately do not have a quorum. So we are not going to be able to take action on anything tonight. We can proceed with the public hearings for the grant applications. There's no reason we can't do that. But we were not going to be able to take action on the specifically on the Schuyler Point project and on the variance request for 1296 East Chestnut Street. I apologize for this. I did not know until now that we were going to have this problem. So what we will do is when we get to those items, we will just table them to the next meeting so that we don't have to republish or anything else for notices. It'll be continued in that fashion. So.
And the approval of the minutes, we don't have a quorum.
Right. So just continue that to the next meeting.
Communications.
Nothing other than 4 items on the agenda tonight.
City council actions.
Yes, so Prairie Walk, we held several hearings on that last month for annexation, for zoning map amendments. Those need to go in parallel with the development agreement that we're working with the developer on to look at the timing and the phasing of the projects and when roadway improvements are going to be made and those kind of things. And so that's being held up a little bit till we get the development agreement compatible with both the developers' intent and interests and the cities. So that will be moving forward in the future, but not quite yet. In terms of Quick Trip, when the attorneys were drawing up the annexation amendment and the ordinance for that, can you pass that over to Arthur? The attorney wanted a plat of annexation, basically just a map showing the area that's going to be annexed into the property. Unfortunately, we didn't get that until today, so the city council wasn't able to act on that at the last meeting. That will still happen for sure, and be on the July, whatever the first Monday in July meeting is for the city council. That will be back to them for approval. And then we had several map amendments, mostly along Station Street. The city council did approve those at their June 3rd meeting. I will also note, I didn't list it on the agenda, but the Walden Road solar project that you guys reviewed and the city council approved, the applicant wasn't comfortable with the draft language that the city attorney put in there based upon the final city council recommendations, essentially saying that If Nexamp sold the project, it would have to come back to city council. So they're still negotiating and discussing that language. They're actually going to be coming to the ordinance committee on next Tuesday night to have a further discussion on that. So that one's technically not done yet.
Interesting.
And that is it for city council actions.
Okay, for case PB 2024-2-2, a public hearing for a conditional use permit at 2705 South Schuyler Avenue for Schuyler Point, a senior housing facility, Zone C2 by New Directions Housing Corporation. We will table that due to not having a quorum.
Yeah, I guess the one thing I would say, Madam Chair, is if there is any public members that did come to provide comments on that project, I suppose we could entertain the comments just so they don't have to come back to the next meeting, but that would be okay.
I see a hand that we do have someone in the audience who would like to make a comment on this case. If you could come forward, please.
When you get up to the mic, if you could just state your name and then proceed with whatever comment you got.
Nancy Tholen. We are a property owner across the street. This letter was the first we've known of anything. So how big is the building? What are you talking about? Do we have any idea?
We do. I think the applicant probably took off at this point. So it is a senior housing project, proposed total of 50 units. These would be, and Barbie, fill in on any blanks that I'm missing here, right? But it's going to be located right next to the Aldi, just south of the Aldi on a vacant lot right there.
9 acres.
There will have one parking space per unit per code requirements. I don't know. That's about it.
So they're single,
I can show you, actually, I got some illustrations in the packet. One second, and I will put up a couple illustrations for you.
Nancy, would you like, would you like to see these? Just a couple of pictures. Site plans. Setback, should we,
Yeah, so it is two-story.
I have the site plan up on the screen right now. It's basically an L-shaped building with the parking kind of located behind it. Aldi is right up here to the north of that project. The building is set back probably 150, maybe 200 feet from 4552. This is just the plat to show you how it lays out. But yeah, that's the proposal. They will have obviously a more significant presentation at the next meeting, but that's what we're talking about.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And if I could get.
Actually, Madam
wanna
Chair,
keep
you don't
it
want to
open?
close it, you want to table it to your next
table it.
meeting.
Okay, okay.
And I think you should, well, you probably should vote to table it.
Okay, if I can get a motion to table.
I move that we table this project until next planning board meeting.
Okay, we have a motion by Chip Roram,
Second?
second by Deb Terrell. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Chip Roram,
Yes.
Arthur Lax,
Yes.
Deb Terrell,
Yes.
Beverly Hood.
Yes.
All right, it is tabled to your next meeting in July.
The next case, PB 2024-5-1, public hearing for variances from the front setback lot area and minimum home size at 1296 East Chestnut Street in the R1 Single Family Zoning District. similar actions as the,
Yeah, we'll need to table it. Let me just give a little quick background. This is a home that was destroyed. He wants to rebuild the home in the same location, but because the home was where the home was located on the lot and the size of the lot, he needs a series of variances to be able to rebuild it. The other option is to rezone it to R1T, which actually would have gotten rid of all the need for the variations. He wanted to proceed with the variances because he wanted to get going and hopefully get approval of the variances tonight. Obviously, we can't do that now since we don't have a quorum, but that was the idea of this project. He just really wants to rebuild that structure pretty much the way it was previously. Right now, it's down to the foundation at this point. So we can't rebuild it because it doesn't comply and it was destroyed by more than 60%. So we can't rebuild without the variances or rezoning. The applicant is here, but I don't know if anybody else is here for this one, so you can ask.
I'll open up the public hearing if there's anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this case. You may do so at this time. Okay, we will go ahead.
So somebody needs to motion to table it.
I need a motion to table it.
I'll make a motion that we keep the comments, public comments open, but table the case until we have a quorum at our next meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Deb Terrell and a second by Chip Roarm. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Deb Terrell,
Yes.
Chip Roarm,
Yes.
Arthur Lax,
Yes.
Beverly Hood.
Yes.
Okay, it is tabled.
Next case, PB 2024-5-2, public hearing for urban shelter grant to expand Harbor House at 2391 East Court Street. The applicant is the City of Kankakee by way of the Economic and Community Development Agency on behalf of Harbor House, Kankakee County Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And we will have a presentation.
I'm speaking, and then Jenny Shanewetter of Harbor House will be speaking.
All right, if you could tell us your name, please.
Absolutely. My name is Marlena Calfoot. I am the program manager for the City of Kankakee's Economic and Community Development Agency. Is it okay if I get started? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. I oversee the Community Development Block Grant, known as CDBG for short. This evening, I'm going to be giving you some information related to the City of Kankakee CDBG programs, as well as the related grant opportunity we're hoping to apply for, funded by the State of Illinois' Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. The CDBG program emphasizes the importance and impact of community participation and input, as does this grant opportunity that we're trying to pursue. Because of this, I'm going to be giving you some information on our CDBG annual funding, as well as similar information on the CDBG CV grant opportunity. So for the current program year, 2024 to 2025, the City of Kankakee has $1,923,656.09 available to spend. This funding includes our annual allocation, this year consisting of $602,655, prior year resources of $1,094,639.09, and CDBG CV funding of $226,362. With these funds, we have 10 activities that we're operating during the current program year. The first is our administration and planning, which funds program operations with $120,531. The second is matching costs for our Lead and Healthy Homes grant with $65,000. The third is demolition and clearance of properties when needed with $242,000.29. The fourth is our single-family rehab program with $459,137.80. The fifth is our emergency rehab program with $175,000. The sixth is our public service program with $75,000. The seventh is our Kankakee Housing Incentive Program with $200,000. The eighth is our special economic development activities with $130,000. The ninth is our public facilities activity with $230,625. And finally, our emergency rental and mortgage assistance program with $226,362. We do not have any project activities that will be undertaken with additional program funding aside from what I've just listed, and we estimate that 75% of these dollars will be directed, will directly benefit individuals who are low and moderate income. We also do not anticipate any displacement as a result of CDBG grant-assisted activities. There are many community and housing needs that were outlined in our 2020 to 2024 consolidated plan. The first need is affordable housing. In this need, we see a need for increased access and supply of affordable housing, as well as support for first-time homebuyers, improving the condition of housing units, especially those that are aged and deteriorated, and addressing the occupancy and overcrowding of housing units in Kankakee. The second need is creating livable communities by making improvements to facilities that serve the public and demolishing properties that are a serious threat to health and safety. The third need is economic development needs, including assistance to entrepreneurs. And the fourth is expanding the availability of and increasing access to needed public services such as mental health services, job training, senior services, rental assistance, and youth programs. If you're interested in accessing the City of Kankakee CDBG records, they can be found online at our website at ecda.citykankakee.il.gov/meeting-information.php. This is where we post our annual action plans, capers, and consolidated plan for public review. And when we're in a public comment period, you can also access copies of these documents at the ECDA's office, which is located at 275 East Court Street, Suite 201. You will hear all of this a second time, just to have that prepared in your head. So now for the information about the State of Illinois' Urban Shelter Grant application for Harbor House. Through this grant, there is an estimated $15 million in grant funding for all of the available grants. There's a grant floor of $500,000 and a ceiling of $2 million. The State of Illinois is expected to make 8 awards. From this grant, $2 million in CDBG CV funding will be used for the construction of a new program facility to house an expanded emergency shelter, as well as ancillary services. Additional project funding in the amount of $1,465,750 will be used towards the same project activity. In this application, we anticipate 100% of individuals served will be low to moderate income, as they are presumed benefit clientele. And we do not anticipate any displacement as a result of CDBG grant-assisted activities. So now to discuss the actual scope of the project, I'd like to introduce Jenny Shane-Wetter, Executive Director of Harbor House.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Really excited. I don't have as many dollar amounts to read, although Marlena did absolutely wonderful at that. But thank you so much for the opportunity to come and talk a little bit about my program. I have one of my coworkers passing out a little bit more information about Harbor House. I'm here with a little bit of a mixed emotion, excited that we live and work in a community that is focused on collaboration of what is best for our community, what does our community need, and how are we going to get there. We can have tough conversations, we can butt heads, but we can come to the table to figure out what do we need to do to move forward, to best support all of our community members and citizens. I'm here with sadness, too, that what this project is even needed. It's unfortunate that we need to talk about domestic violence. It's unfortunate that we need a shelter for domestic violence survivors. It's a reality, though, in our community. So I want to start just talking a little bit about Harbor House to make sure you're familiar with us as an organization. And then I'm going to talk about the need that we are seeing locally and across the state and country related to domestic violence. Then I'll get more specific into what this program is, this new facility, and how it's going to help to meet that need. So Harbor House, we are the domestic violence agency that serves Kankakee and Iroquois counties. All of our services are free and highly confidential. They include our 24-hour hotline, 24-hour chat line, 2 emergency shelters, counseling for adults, youth, and families, legal advocacy, so support through the court system, case management, community trainings and presentations, and then we also have a resale shop located in Watseka. All of what we do is supported by this community, is supported also through federal and state grants. With this unfortunate pandemic that we're coming out of, it's led to a lot of highlighting of domestic violence. You've probably heard it talked about more in the past couple of years, maybe, than you had historically. Statistics like how 68.2% of mass shootings, the root cause is domestic violence. More than 2/3 of mass shootings can be directly related back to domestic violence. Because domestic violence is not a family problem. It is not an individual problem. It's a community problem and a public safety problem. And it's something that we have to address collectively and head on, such as through programs like this. When you look at just within the city of Kankakee, we work very closely with the police department, and they said that in 2018 to 2023, they had 36 homicides, and 1 in 3 of them were domestic violence. So it's happening in our own community, and when somebody doesn't have anywhere to turn, your options aren't great. You're faced with a rock and a hard place, a position that you're facing countless barriers and you need somebody and a place to go to. So I wanted to give you a couple of quick statistics about the individuals that we have had to turn away. So thinking of in fiscal year 22, starting to be out of the pandemic, still kind of in that, we had to turn away 66 individuals from emergency shelter because we did not have capacity, which this grant would help to solve that problem. Out of those 66 individuals, 31 of them were children. In fiscal year 23, we had to turn away 275 individuals from emergency shelter. 108 of them were children. For the first 10 months of fiscal year 24, our current fiscal year, so that's July through April, we had to turn away 348 survivors of domestic violence because we did not have capacity to serve them. That was 162 children. That was because we didn't have space. We didn't have room. And so when this grant opportunity came up, I very excitedly emailed Barbie and her team right away of, let's talk. What can we do to help to solve this problem, to make sure that there is a safe place so that those 1/3 of homicides in our community that are our own community members, our neighbors that are dying due to domestic violence have somewhere to go and somewhere to turn to. So what's the solution look like? This program that we are requesting, the grant that we are requesting the funds for, increases our capacity by 100% from our pre-COVID shelter capacity. So we have this structured out to be able to accommodate individuals and families of different sizes. Right now, we have very limited options when it comes to that. So with this new space, it will have 12 units. 6 of those units will be for 1-bedroom style units, so it'll be a private bedroom and then shared common spaces. So that'll be great for a single person or a person with 1 child. We'll then also have 4 efficiency apartments. So within those apartments, there will be bunk beds, a private bedroom, a private kitchen, a private bathroom. So that might be a really good fit for a small family. And then we will also have 2 apartment units, about 600 to 700 square feet that will have 2 private bedrooms, a private bathroom, private kitchen, just a private living space so that families that are larger, we can finally be able to accommodate them. And families can heal together from the trauma that they have collectively experienced and start a new path of safety, a new path of hope, and a new path of breaking generational cycles, as domestic violence is a generational problem oftentimes because it's a learned and chosen behavior. With this facility, as you can see on the floor plan, which is also included in your program packet, we also have all of our programmatic staff. So this facility will be staffed 24/7 by our client advocate team. And then during regular business hours, it will also have our counselors, it'll have our case manager, it'll have legal advocates. So individuals have direct access to the immediate support that they need. Again, all of these services being free and highly confidential. The funding request that we are making on behalf, or the city is actually making on our behalf, is $2 million. Unfortunately, with how construction costs are, that won't cover the whole thing. No matter how much I wave my magic wand, it's only going to cover a portion of that. So $1.5 million is also what Harbor House is committing. That's $1 million through a loan and then $500,000 through cash on hand. So we're really honored and excited to be able to work with the city on this. Again, it's very unfortunate that we're here, but we're excited of what this could mean for our community when we fast forward 5-10 years because we made a decision now and because we're just going to speak it into the world because we were awarded this grant. What does the future hold for us? So that's all that I have for you. I look forward to any questions that you might have, but we're really excited to be able to work with the city on this grant.
Wow. Any questions?
This is just curiosity, but how long do clients typically stay in your facility? I'm sure there's a range, but just curious.
Yes, it is a range, usually from about 1 to 3 months. I'd say the average is about 2 to 3 months, especially post-COVID, as we have seen there's a very significant housing crisis, unfortunately. And so finding affordable living, safe living in the community can be a challenge. We used to see it a little bit shorter, probably closer to 30 to 45 days pre-COVID. But throughout that time and working with a case manager, we're connecting them to community resources and doing our very best to find sustainable living locally. Yes.
Are there some houses under construction now?
No, none of the construction has started for this facility. It's all contingent on this grant.
I have a number of questions.
Yeah.
Deb Terrell. Let me make sure I understand this. I understand the need to talk fast, but I was having trouble keeping up. So the amount of grant money available for Illinois is $15 million.
Yes.
And we expect that around 8 applicants will be chosen to receive money. And those applicants can receive anywhere from $500,000 to $2 million, okay?
That's correct.
Do we know how many applicants there are at this point?
So we don't know how many actual applications will go in, but the city of Kankakee is one of 42 entitlement communities that receive CDBG dollars, which was a requirement for this grant. So we're in a privileged position to get to apply at all. So we don't know how many people are going to go through the whole process.
Okay. Also, the number of services that you provide, you know, I thought I knew a lot about Harbor House, but I didn't. The number of services you provide is really impressive. You talked about the number of people that you turned away because you didn't have the capacity for them. How many people did you serve in the last fiscal year?
For the last fiscal year 23, we served 553 survivors. That is not just residential clients, though. I want to add that. I don't have that data with me. I lied. I do have that data with me. For fiscal year 23, we served 132 individuals residentially.
Residential.
Yeah. And then for fiscal year 22, it was 196 residentially, 552 overall.
Okay. And a part of this grant money, the element that was created specifically for the coronavirus pandemic relief portion of it, that's intended to bring you back to where you were before the virus?
So CDBG CV money was a specific grant that was built to prevent, prepare, and respond. You nailed that, thank you. To the coronavirus pandemic. So the city of Kankakee received CDBG CV dollars, so as well as states. So states and communities can receive these dollars. So the state is choosing to use their CV dollars to trickle down to communities. Okay. So if you want to answer the question of bringing you past pre-coronavirus levels.
Yes, so pre-COVID, we had 6 units. This will bring us to 12 units.
Okay. All right. One more question. I need to find where I put this. Okay. So the children that are housed at Harbor House, you provide services, you know, like the hotline and the chat line, the emergency sheltering, counseling, court advocacy, case management, and community outreach, prevention initiatives. What specific programs do you have for the children? Anything in particular other than shelter?
Yes, counseling. So counseling is one of the biggest programs that we offer with counseling. Sometimes with our legal advocacy programs, children can be involved with that, thinking of family court. So some of our clients that are going through divorce processes, we know that that impacts children. Assisting with orders of protection, we know that that impacts children. That's more of a direct service to the adults, though. And then in the evenings, we have client advocates, 2 individuals staffed at a time, and so they're doing group activities. We just had a new playground installed as well. So we try to make it as comfortable and safe for the family unit to grow together. So sometimes it's maybe just kids' activities, sometimes it's family activities, and sometimes parents just need to also step away and just be with other adults for a while, which is why separating them can be great. But counseling through that individual children's counseling, family counseling, and then just with the evening programs with having that staff available.
How many people do you employ?
40.
40.
Yep, and we operate out of 4 facilities.
Okay. And you have a lot of community partnerships? You partner with, can you name some of the agencies that you partner with?
Yes, we partner with, I'd say, almost every agency in this community. So Clove Alliance, YWCA, YMCA, Catholic Charities, which I know that some of these organizations are actually here tonight with us, Salvation Army, a lot of the daycare providers we work with, actually launching an initiative to provide early childhood education to daycare providers as it relates to DV. Sorry, that's a side note. A lot of the school districts, we work within the school districts doing presentations, prevention activities with youth on that side of things, which maybe kind of goes back to your previous question as well. We do a lot with youth in the community. Other community partners, now I'm just blanking on every nonprofit that's in this community.
Do you work closely with the police department?
Yes. So we launched the Domestic Violence Task Force actually about 2 years ago. So that consists of our 5 largest police departments as well as prosecution, probation, CANCOM, so dispatchers, first responders. We do a lot of trainings and partnerships with first responders. They're on the front lines as it relates to DV as well as every other crisis that we experience. So we have very strong partnerships. We've had a lot of the police, actually, not a lot of the police. We've had a number of officers go through our certified 40-hour training to learn more about domestic violence. We do quarterly roll calls and 6 different departments in our community. So we show up at 5:45 in the morning and then in the afternoon to provide focused, specialized domestic violence training on different topics. Sometimes we bring it, sometimes they ask questions, so we develop trainings around that to make sure that we have those communication lines open. So the task force that I referenced, they meet every single week to discuss some of the most severe cases, some of the things that we need to be watching for, some of the things of maybe somebody knows something somebody else doesn't know. And so prosecution's at that table, police are at that table, we're at that table, child networks at that table. We operate best as a community. Harbor House does domestic violence services very well. We know our lane, we stay in our lane. We want to make sure that others who are doing things better than us are who we are connecting our clients with, because if we try to spread ourselves thin of doing everything, we're just going to hurt our clients and the community.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to come forward and speak or have any comments? Come forward. You can state your name.
Good evening. I am Stephanie Brown. I'm a citizen of Kankakee as well as the prevention advocate with Harbor House. I have a few comments here, some public comments that we put together in favor of expanding our domestic violence emergency shelter. The instances of DV are increasing dramatically, and our local shelter is inadequate to meet all the needs. I believe in the Harbor House mission and support the staff who are working to help our community. This is from Yvonne Shalfant, resident of City of Kankakee. Domestic violence is a tight grip on our community. It seems new cases come to light every day. If the shelter is expanded to allow more capacity, that is more women who are able to help to have safety from the hands of someone who could potentially kill them. We have seen it in our community and country time and time again. Offenders rarely get better. They often escalate, and this leads to the deaths of many. The statistics are there that show that this is a growing epidemic, and places like Harbor House provide refuge and resources for people who find themselves in hopeless situations. Expanding this invaluable resource for our community will be invaluable. I truly hope one day organizations like Harbor House don't have to exist, but for right now, this gem in our community needs to be allowed to continue to serve those who need to help, and this expansion will allow for that many more to be helped. The expansion will allow that many more women to have what could be their first peaceful night of sleeps in years. No one knows how invaluable this place is until it is something they truly need. 6 years ago, they were there for me when I had no idea what to do or where to turn. I know with the help of this expansion that other women will know the peace that Harbor House was able to give me. The shelter allows women to be safe from their abusers and gives them the ability to not be located or intimidated. This community service needs to be protected as domestic violence epidemic in our county and country is only getting worse, and we see more families wrapped up in it every day. That is from Kristen Hawk, resident of Bradley, and she does business in Kankakee. It is vital to assist even more of the survivors and their families that have been impacted by domestic violence. Domestic violence impacts everyone. It doesn't matter what socioeconomic class, race, age, sexual orientation, or even gender you belong to. Domestic violence affects everyone. This is from Tia, a resident in City of Kankakee. As a part of the Homeless Task Force of Kankakee County, I'm aware of the enormity of the homeless problems in our county. I fully support the need to enlarge existing shelters so no one is put in a position of staying in an unsafe environment due to lack of shelter space. That is from Connie Lemon, part of the Homeless Task Force. Expanding Harbor House's domestic violence emergency shelter is vital to the city of Kankakee to have a safe place for people to go with violence. The shelters are a place for people to go to find hope and to start a new beginning. That is Diana Sweeney, resident and works at a business in the city of Kankakee. Clove Alliance believes expanding the domestic violence emergency shelter is critical for the well-being of Kankakee. For increased safety for survivors, more shelter space allows Harbor House to accommodate more survivors fleeing violence, providing them with a safe haven and a chance to rebuild their lives. This reduces the risk of further harm and empowers them to escape abusive situations. Stronger families, stronger Kankakee. Domestic violence has a ripple effect impacting children and weakening the overall community. By supporting survivors, we nurture healthier families, creating a more stable and secure environment for everyone in Kankakee. Breaking the cycle of violence. Safe shelter combined with Harbor House's support services empowers survivors. This helps prevent future violence within families and fosters a culture of safety and respect across Kankakee. Economic benefits. Studies show domestic violence has a significant economic cost to lost productivity and healthcare expenses. An expanded shelter allows Harbor House to help more survivors achieve economic independence, contributing positively to Kankakee's economic health. Clove Alliance stands firmly behind Harbor House's expansion. By providing safe shelter and comprehensive support services, creates a safer and more helpful future for survivors of domestic violence and for the entire Kankakee community. Emergency shelters are vital, lifelong for survivors of sexual abuse and domestic violence because they offer survivors a critical chance to heal, rebuild, reclaim their lives in a safe and supportive environment. That is Tracy No Slack of Clove Alliance, CEO, City of Kankakee. Expanding Harbor House domestic violence emergency shelter is critical to the city of Kankakee from my perspective, as it will provide a safe, clean, and updated space for individuals experiencing this horrific violence to escape and begin to rebuild their fractured pieces of their lives, not only for themselves, but for their children who are often witnesses to crime. The expansion will also be an opportunity for Harbor House staff to staff more people from within the community. Domestic violence is a real concern in Kankakee County. The violence/abuse often goes unreported for various reasons. However, it is devastating to all individuals involved. Having a larger and more efficient facility would mean that more victims and survivors would be able to participate in the education and prevention of domestic violence while rebuilding and transitioning into a healthier lifestyle in which domestic abuse is not a part of. Carmen King, and she works at a business in the city of Kankakee. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hello, if you could just state your name.
My name's Samantha. I'm with the Sheriff's Department, and I'm also on the Domestic Violence Task Force. I'm not prepared with anything. I don't have any statistics, so I'm just going to wing it. I just wanted to share from my personal experience. As an officer, and I speak for myself, but probably most officers, we run into a lot of victims that we don't know how to help them. We try every avenue, and no fault to Harbor House, but if they're full, then is there a family member to go to? Do you have any money to go to this hotel? And it's sad to say we've had to look into victims' eyes and say there's just nothing else we can do, like we're out of resources. I have several experiences with victims with children, and I just truly think that if we had this facility in a bigger place, that would help on our part and help for the victims, because all we're doing is we're pushing them back into the arms of the offenders, or if they're strong enough, then they're homeless, and trying to just fight it out the best way they can, and neither one of those are good options. So I'm just here to share my support for the new facility, and I'm very nervous, but thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hello.
My name's Sarah Howe. I'm the Community Services Director for Catholic Charities. I just wanted to come and show my support for Harbor House. We partner with Harbor House very frequently for client needs. They're a great partner to have in the community. We need more support for the social service agencies here. It is a very difficult business to be in at times. As you guys are aware, we depend a lot on grants, and having an opportunity like this is a wonderful opportunity for them. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Barbie or Mike, you have anything you would like to add?
I don't, because everybody's done a wonderful job, and you've heard the stats, and you're gonna hear more from them for the next presentation as well, but thank you.
Okay.
Nothing else. It
Okay.
sounds like a great
And the
project.
public hearing is closed. And we'll move to the next case, which is PB 2024-5-3, public hearing for an urban shelter grant for Fortitude Community Outreach at 970 East Court Street. Take it away. Say your name again for the record.
You bet. My name's Marlena Calfoot. I am the CDBG Program Manager for the City of Kankakee's Economic and Community Development Agency. I am going to go through the whole thing again because I need it for the record. This evening, I will be giving you some information regarding the City of Kankakee's CDBG programs, as well as a related grant opportunity we are hoping to apply for, funded by the State of Illinois' Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. The CDBG program emphasizes the importance and impact of community participation and input, as does the grant opportunity we're trying to pursue. Because of this, I will start by giving you information on our CDBG annual funding, and then I will give similar information on the CDBG CV grant opportunity. So, for program year 2024-2025, the City of Kankakee has $1,923,656.09 available to spend. This funding includes our annual allocation, this year consisting of $602,655, prior year resources of $1,094,639.09, and CDBG CV funding of $226,362. With these funds, we have 10 activities that we are operating during the current program year. The first is administration and planning, which funds program operations with $120,531. The second is matching costs for our lead and healthy homes grants with $65,000. The third is demolition and clearance of properties when needed with $242,000.29. The fourth is our single-family rehab program with $459,137.80. The fifth is our emergency rehab program with $175,000. The sixth is our public service program with $75,000. The seventh is our Kankakee Housing Incentive Program with $200,000. The eighth is our special economic development activities with $130,000. The ninth is our public facilities activity with $230,625. And finally, our emergency rental and mortgage assistance program with $226,362. We do not have any program activities that will be undertaken with additional funding, and we estimate that 75% of these dollars will directly benefit individuals who are low and moderate income. We also do not anticipate any displacement as a result of CDBG grant-assisted activities. There are many community and housing needs outlined in the City of Kankakee's 2020 to 2024 Consolidated Plan. The first is affordable housing, including increased access and supply of affordable housing, as well as support for first-time homebuyers, improving the conditions of housing units, especially those that are aged and deteriorated, and addressing the occupancy and overcrowding of housing units. The second need is creating livable communities by making improvements to facilities that serve the public and demolishing properties when they are a serious threat to health and safety. The third need is economic development needs, including assistance to entrepreneurs. The fourth need is expanding the availability of and increasing access to needed public services such as mental health services, job training, senior services, rental assistance, and youth programming. If you are interested in accessing the City of Kankakee CDBG records, they can be found online at our website at ecdda.citykankakee-il.gov/meeting-information.php. This is where we post our annual action plans, capers, and consolidated plan for public review. When we're in a public comment period, you can also access copies of documents at the ECDA's office located at 275 East Court Street, Suite 201. Now for the State of Illinois' Urban Shelter Grant application for Fortitude Community Outreach. Through this grant, there is an estimated $15 million in grant funding, with a grant floor of $500,000 and a ceiling of $2 million. The State of Illinois is expected to make around 8 awards. From this grant for Fortitude, $608,363 of CDBG CV funding will be used for the rehabilitation and renovation of a building for use for emergency shelter. Additional project funding will not be used for this project activity. In this grant, 100% of individuals served will be low to moderate income, as they are presumed benefit clientele, and we do not anticipate any displacement as a result of CDBG grant-assisted activities. Now, to discuss the actual scope of the project, I would like to introduce Samantha Woodmaster, Director of Community Outreach of Fortitude Community Outreach. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, if you could just state your name one more time for the record.
Samantha Woodmaster.
Okay.
Thank you for having me. To start, I just wanted to start with some numbers that I have heard that are a good reminder to me why I do what I do and why Fortitude even exists. As Marlena and Jenny both touched on, we are in the middle of a housing crisis. There's a huge lack of housing in our area overall, but especially affordable housing. Even with support, it has been incredibly difficult to get people from homeless to housed. On any given night in the state of Illinois, there is over 700 veterans that are homeless. Last year at our homeless summit, the Regional Office of Education said that there was over 400 students that were registered as homeless. Just recently at one of our local COC, or Continuum of Care meetings, just the Kankakee School District Liaison was there, and she said that they have over 170 families registered as homeless in Kankakee District alone. The homeless helpline is something that Fortitude has been operating for a while now, but especially since November of 2023. It's available from 9 a.m. to about 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday, and myself and 2 other staff rotate that phone out. It's been my turn to have the phone since May 28th, and I've had just text alone, I've been contacted by 50 different people. Whether that's somebody seeking help for themselves or an agency asking questions on how to get somebody connected to the services, but that doesn't count the phone calls that I've received, just 50 texts. Can I help? So from January to June 2024, over 150 people have Googled homeless shelters near me, and they were directed to Can I Help because they're within this area searching for a homeless shelter. Homelessness also impacts other systems, such as the medical system and criminal justice systems. A good number, because of the significant impact homelessness has on all systems, the state of Illinois just approved a almost $90 million increase in the state budget for homeless services. So with all of that said, a very brief overview of how Fortitude ended up applying for this grant. So at May 2023, we were seeking a permanent shelter site. We had a location on North Washington in Kankakee. We were trying to build a shelter, but because of inflation, the cost went from $500,000 to over $1 million. We were kind of scrambling so that we were able to offer services again in the fall. And we came across a company in Florida that was renovating old coach buses into an overnight shelter. We were able to fully research that, go check it out, and we did end up purchasing one of their buses, the only ADA accessible bus in the country. There's only 4 of these buses right now. Ours is the only one in the state of Illinois that had 19 shelter beds. We started operating that in November. We filled up almost immediately and had a waiting list to get in even in November. In November, we were borrowing space from Redeeming Life Ministries in Kankakee so that we had a place to be in the evening to provide case management, meals, things like that. We weren't able to do showers and stuff like that because it was at the church. So we had that space for the month of November because we were seeking office space in another town, and that didn't work out. And the office space was meant to complement the mobile overnight shelter. We just needed a space to be during the day. And in the process of finding a space, we ourselves ended up homeless, working out of our cars, meeting with people at the mall, and it just wasn't functional. So we were trying to find a new solution. And at some point, somebody had mentioned that the building at 970 East Court Street was for sale, and at the time, we didn't pursue it, but in probably December of last year, we were thinking about it, and we decided just to go check it out, see if it was even an option at all. We got there, and we left feeling like it was most definitely the forever home of Fortitude. For me, it felt like it was just one of those everything happens for a reason type of moments. The building, its size is so perfect. The location is great. And so we decided to come up with like a phased plan so that we could move in there slowly. So we got permission for that to be office space so that the staff had a secure place to be able to work out of. And so the phases are phase 1 for it to just be an office space. We've already had the building inspection and that was passed. The fire inspection, we needed a Knox box and a fire alarm system installed. So those are our next steps so that we can have the business license to just be an office space for staff. Phase 2 includes installing ADA bathrooms, and there'll be 3 bathrooms, a full bathroom, a half bath, and then a bathroom with just a shower and a sink. And this will allow us to move our evening services that we're currently offering at the Salvation Army to the building on 970 East Court. And that would mean evening services in the building, but we would still be operating the night fort for overnight shelter. And then this building specifically, it has like 2 portions of the building. The first one is 2 stories, and then there's a separate part that's connected that we call the north building. So evening services would be on the first floor, the second floor would be office space for staff, and then the north building, which is completely deconstructed currently, would be renovated into the overnight shelter space. Time frame for that is like 1.5 years, maybe even 2 years out. So we would be using the night fort for all of that. Also, as a result of our homeless summit last year, we decided to take a trip to Rockford because they were the first city in Illinois to reach functional zero homelessness. And our community wanted to work towards that. And so functional zero homelessness basically means that more people are exiting homelessness than are entering. Currently, in our community, we don't have the capacity to even handle the people that are already experiencing homelessness. So we are working better together with our community partners to help get people housed more quickly. And one of the ways that we're doing that is we created a by name list. So every person that we know or another agency knows is experiencing literal homelessness is on this list. And once a week, Fortitude, Catholic Charities, Salvation Army, Cornerstone, KCCSI, Harbor House, and I might be missing somebody, we get together and we talk about every single person on that list. And because of that list, within the last month, we've got 10 individuals or families housed. We also learned from Rockford that an emergency shelter is a crucial piece to the puzzle of solving homelessness. So we are asking for this money so Fortitude can continue to be a part of the solution to reaching functional zero homelessness. That's all I have.
Any questions? I'll open up to the audience. And is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this case? If you could state your name, please.
Yeah, my name is James Desjardins. I was currently just homeless with Fortitude, and that bus is awesome, but they can do so much more with the building. Just the small space to have a place to go and be able to shower and be able to eat, and it's hard to not have your own building. So I work 2 jobs, so taking a shower is a necessity. I had 2 dogs, and getting house was hard. It took me 5 months. So without a building, they can't really do as much as they're capable of. So that's why they really need that grant money.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Anyone else?
Hello, it's me again.
You state your name, please.
Sarah Howe, Community Services Director for Catholic Charities. Could not be here without showing support for Fortitude as well. Fortitude's a great organization in the community. Catholic Charities and Fortitude partner multiple times a week for client needs as well as other community planning things. We're both very collaborative within the continuum of care, the homeless task force, the by name list group, all of the things that the homeless services providers are doing in this community. So I just wanted to say again, this is a wonderful opportunity for them to have a great homeless shelter space in the community. It's desperately needed. So I just welcome the opportunity for them to expand. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Chair, a quick point of clarification. I should have said this earlier. The Harbor House project actually already does have a conditional use permit for a shelter, and there aren't any limitations on that conditional use, so they essentially already have it even for the expansion, so they're good. Fortitude has applied for a conditional use for the shelter. They asked to delay the public hearing portion of that. The grant only requires them to have applied at this point, and so they have. And we will be having a public hearing at that at some point in the future. We don't know exactly when yet. So.
I have a couple of questions. I'm not sure who to direct them to.
And each time you speak for the record, so the recorder will be able to know who's speaking, if you could state your name.
It was a really nice presentation. We do need a shelter facility very badly, 100% behind that. It's my personal opinion that that's a great space for it and appropriate for the use. Have you closed on the property?
Yeah.
You have, okay.
If you could speak into the mic for the recorder.
Samantha speaking. Yes, we have closed on it.
You have closed on it. My next question's a rather delicate one, but I feel that it's necessary to ask it. When we last visited talks with Fortitude as a group, we were at an impasse of sorts because Fortitude did not want the Kankakee police visiting their facilities at will. Has that been resolved?
Samantha speaking. I would say that we're all still talking about it. It's never been we don't want the police there at all. It was the issue was just during sleeping time. And so actually it's kind of perfect because this building, the shelter is completely separate from the other building. And so when people are there for services in the evening, or if it ends up being during the day, whenever, the police have access to that space whenever they want. And then, of course, if there's an emergency or something like that, they're going to be more than welcome to enter the shelter space. The issue is just that overnight time. But it's in conversation. There's not this is not going to happen or this is going to happen.
So it has not been resolved.
Right.
Thank you.
Barbie or Mike, would you like to add anything?
As the city continues to work with all of the continuum of care agencies, the housing agencies, the other social service agencies that help us in our community development strategy, we are working towards a bigger comprehensive housing plan that we all can collectively work on together. Having an emergency shelter is going to be a pivotal part of that plan as we move forward. So their phased approach is fitting a timeline that has been talked about. And so I think it's important that we recognize the work and the efforts of Fortitude to meet the need of emergency shelter in our community, as well as Harbor House and Options for Center for Independent Living and Catholic Charities and the Salvation Army. So they're all working together to help with our housing issues that we have. As you've heard from Marlena, we've got housing rehab programs. We're working on those, and we're just one piece of that bigger pie of a community that's working together for these needs. So I think it's important to know that we are seeking this funding to help fill gaps that people need in our community. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, the public hearing is closed. Old business?
Yes, so Quick Trip, I don't know, Madam Chair. Quick Trip is, still needs to do a couple of things. They need to give us the drawings for their requested variance for their billboard and their monument sign. We haven't got those yet, so we should continue the hearings for that, and they have not provided the plat of subdivision yet either, so we will need to readdress those when they get the drawings done. So they will be back.
So we'll table those?
Yes.
So we'll combine all three and get a motion to table those three cases.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion by Deb Terrell and a second by Chip Roram. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Deb Terrell,
Yes.
Chip Roram,
Yes.
Arthur Lax,
Yes.
Beverly Hood.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Other business?
Nope, nothing. We will have another full agenda next month. The fact that we have to continue these, plus the new ones coming in, so I will be making phone calls to make sure everybody's here next time.
Thank you. Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Deb Terrell and second by Chip Roram. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you coming out this evening.
Let me go turn this thing off.
Yeah.